oh yeah, I know everything, and here's the lesson of the day. I was like, Chocho, for the love of God, please shut the fuck up. I beg of you, yo. I'll buy you a year's worth of Naruto chips if you would just please be quiet. That would be amazing. Well then, so apparently we have stalkers in the Narutoverse, although people would argue, hey, that's what Naruto did to Sasuke. Hey, no. So this week's episode of Boruto, honestly, it definitely wasn't up to the standard that the previous episode and the past few episodes have been having, where it was kind of building up our characters. I mean, in one regard, I guess it was trying to focus in on characters that aren't as notable, like Chocho. It was trying to give a little bit more into her, and also getting into this Sumire chick that pretty much feels like a Hinata 2.0. I mean, she got the, I'm shy, I'm scared. We just don't have that mental thing to say whether or not she's just always Boruto-kun, similar to how Hinata used to be for Naruto. But for the most part, honestly, I felt as though she was just like, oh, yeah, a Hinata. And we had this new character that was a stalker. And it feels as though they're just trying to add in more events of what is going on with this little special chakra beast that is making people fall into the depravity, or taking over people when they fall into the depravity. So we have another one, because at this point, how many people we've had? We've had Denki. We've had quite a few different people fall under and fall into this spell, so to speak, of this monster. And it seems as though we're slowly progressing towards the truth of it. I do feel as though episodes like this kind of feel like it's just not necessarily needed. It was like a lesson of the day type of deal with Chocho with the potato chips, which honestly I was shocked as hell that there was actually a lesson in there. It's like, yeah, they're nasty, but you know, you gotta just give them a try sometimes, and you know, you never know, they might like, yeah, that was the little lesson of the day there with Chocho. And I was like, loving potato chips, what the hell are you, what are you doing right now? It's like, the more interesting bits for me personally was like the Mitsuki conversations and Boruto's eye and him seeing the beast and actually drawing him down, and then of course the ending scenes. Like, those were the things that I personally was like, yeah, because when it went into like the more action pieces of the episode, it just didn't feel like it was that big of a deal. It was like, we know, okay, this kid fell into depravity because he's obsessed with Sumire, he's gonna do something stupid, and by the end of it he's gonna fall out of it, and we're gonna have the lesson of the day. It felt as though it was going once again into that pattern, whereas while, you know, we had a similar setup with like last week with Shino and shit like that, it felt more tied into the characters and more of a progressing thing for them, while this one, it just felt like another run-of-the-mill freak of the week. Somebody fell into depravity. Now let's talk about Mitsuki, because Mitsuki, the anime is doing the best justice for him, aside from the one shot that we got from Kishimoto himself. The anime is just doing phenomenal for him, because other parts, other places, like, you know, the movie, we didn't really get shit about him. You know, the manga up until this point really hasn't done shit with him as well. It's like the anime right now is doing justice for Mitsuki. He's still mysterious. We still don't exactly know every detail, like who is he talking to. I think we can assume for the most part, but we don't have clarification on exactly who he's talking to when he talks to Little Snake. But I mean, most people can, I think they can assume who the hell he's talking to. But nevertheless, it's just diving more into the fact that he just wants to see, and I think he wants Boruto to prove to him that Boruto really is a good person, and that there's good people out there, and that Boruto is somebody that he could either look up to or follow as a guide of light, so to speak. Because if you remember a couple episodes back, he said, I wonder if this is my son, in reference to like him being the moon to his, you know, sunlight and whatnot. So I think he's continuing on and testing Boruto, how he's going to react to this. Now, it's not really clarifying, and to be honest with you, it's kind of half and half for me on exactly what's going on with Mitsuki's involvement with the snake stuff, or not the snake stuff, the whole monster thing. I'm like, maybe, because you could definitely see that at the very least Mitsuki knows, and like, you know, he could tell it's not just Boruto, him as well kind of can either sense or see the chakra beast that is on top of everybody that falls into depravity. So, you know, the Mitsuki thing is a little bit interesting, and again, it's continuing to slowly build nicely with Mitsuki, and I'm liking that. Like, the good parts of this episode, again, is what I've already mentioned, and just kind of getting a little bit more of a grasp for the characters. Chocho, personally, I just don't care for the character as a whole, so I really wasn't going to be that intrigued. I don't like a personality that kind of stinks of like, oh yeah, I know everything, and here's the lesson of the day. I was like, Chocho, for the love of God, please shut the fuck up. I beg of you, yo. I'll buy you a year's worth of Naruto chips if you would just please be quiet. Now, that would be amazing. And I wish we would have got more of Sarada in this episode, because like we see her around and she wasn't doing too much, and it kind of is a realization when you watch these episodes, because the situation wasn't that dire. I mean, it was dire, but not really dire. But then you remember, holy shit, Sarada doesn't have Sharingan, Boruto can't do Rasengan. They don't really have those incredible feats that they'll eventually adapt in, you know, the movie portions when they become full-on shinobi. So it's really a condensed thing, and I think it's kind of interesting, and it gives a little bit of a different twist opposed to like in Naruto. Beginning of Naruto, they just graduating the academy, you know what I'm saying? Naruto knows just a little bit enough, you know? These kids, it's like they don't have those big things, but they also have strategy, so they make up for it. But yeah, honestly, this episode, I felt as though it was a fine. Like, if I had to score it, I'd say maybe a 6, 6.5 if you're pushing it. It was like, it was giving a lesson of the day, and we had cool little things here and there, but I really wish they would just already focus more in on that chakra beast and less on like these little freak of the weeks, because it was like, you know, you're shy, blah, blah, blah. I think this was the first time, which is giving us a little bit more information on the chakra beast as well, that somebody completely fell out and was drained and shit like that. So it's like, I don't know if that character in particular, the stalker, was just like a really weak person, so it took a bunch of the energy, or maybe it's because if you lose the chakra beast without getting knocked out, then you lose a shit ton of chakra and you fall out. So there's a possibility there. But yeah, it was kind of like, after last week's episode, I was hoping we were going to go in a slightly different direction and not just have these freak of the week type of episodes. But it's like, it was alright, but I was expecting a little bit more of a different direction after we finished the final lesson with Shino, which was a damn good episode. I know I keep referencing back to that, but it was a damn good episode, and I was hoping for a little bit something different with this week's episode. Really curious what you guys think about this episode, though. For starters, how do you feel about Boruto in this episode? Once again, seeing the chakra beast and shit like that. Like, personally, it's like, we get it. He's the only one that could see him. Cool shit there. Let's kind of get more advancement into that territory. Also, what do you think about the stalker thing in this episode? How do you feel about Sumire? Like, do you think she's anything more than a Hinata 2.0? I mean, it's more than clear to me anyway, at the very least, that Boruto's gonna end up with Sarada. It could change up by the end of this, you never know, and maybe they'll just be like really best friends, although it's hard to, you know, really say like, oh, a man and a woman can be really best friends without, no, that's a whole different discussion, and people are gonna lynch me for that comment right there. And what do you think about the episode as a whole? Coming from last week's episode, where we had the final lesson with Shino, you know, whipping ass and everything that we've been through in that episode, did you feel as though this episode lived up and continued on in the pattern that we should have had of like progressing the threat and getting into bigger things? Or you think it's fine? I'm really hoping that in a very soon time, we finally start getting out of this element and go into an adaptation of Naruto Gaiden, which has seemingly been confirmed that we will be getting at some given point in the near future. So that's something to look forward to. And again, your overall thoughts of the episode. Did you like it? Did you hate it? I'm personally like, it was fine. 6.5 out of 10. Next week's episode, though, just quickly, like that preview. Next week, I'm expecting big and better things, and it seems as though hopefully we'll finally leave behind this freak of the week shit, because it's starting to get a little bit repetitive. 7 episodes in, and a good majority of them has that same concept. It's like, we can move out of that, we can go different directions, still focusing on the chakra beast and get more information about him. But yeah, I'm ready to like dive into the future and Naruto Gaiden and so many other cool things that they could do. Oh, and quickly, just one more second to talk about Boruto's eye. I really want to see more of use of it and exactly what it is and stuff like that. I definitely want in the near future for us to dive more into it, because you can see that, okay, he can see this chakra beast. What else can that eye do? Is that it? Is it just like a advanced form of Byakugan, and that's why he's the only one that can see the beast, because nobody in the village has reported that they can see it? Or is it just some crazy theory right here, Link, that the only reason he's the one that can see it is because he has to be in the vicinity, because he's the reason people are falling into depravity for whatever happened to him, whether somebody gave him that special eye or gave him that ability, and Boruto's the reason people are going crazy, and that's why he's the only one that can see it with his eye. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things that they could do with that eye. I just want to get a little bit more exploration into it, because it's like, every episode, we're just seeing him like, oh, hey, I can use this eye and I can see shit. Can it do anything else? I mean, come on, you're part of the Hyuga clan, bro. And it's like, nobody else in the village is seeing shit but you, so there gotta be something special about that eye. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm Finette World, and as always, people, have an awesome day.